snake. We're in the year of the snake. So we're going to just look at planting seeds of self-discovery, releasing your limiting beliefs, feel empowered and value, and harness the power of Renenutet. So we're just going to look at these elements that she represents. So today is actually the new moon, the Pisces new moon. So it's the start of Ramadan, and for the first time, I'm actually being called spiritually to follow Ramadan and deepen with Sufism. And this is all a, festival of sacrifice, and it's nearing of spring. So Pisces is, this whole symbol and essence of Pisces is closing of a cycle, time for reflection, release, and renewal before Aries initiates a fresh start. A shift coming from hibernation to awakening. And it's also a time of surrender. So Pisces being a water sign, it helps us connect to intuition, dreams, and emotions. It's that very dreamy state. It's a period of letting go of control and embracing the flow of life, like the Nile. So this is where those themes represent with the Nile. So here, this is the step pyramid, and I love the row of cobras there. And, we are in a rites of the ancient seasons of Kemet, like a spring rites of passage. The last month of winter, spring is called Peret, and it's honoring the crops being planted. So this is all the seeds we want to plant this season. And the first month of spring, summer, Shemu is called harvest and honoring the ripening and signifying the coming of inundation. That's when the Nile used to flood before they built the Aswan Dam. And now the Nile no longer floods anymore, but we still want to honor these ancient sacred rhythms. And then awakening the inner serpent. This is definitely something we can work with this year with that Kundalini energy, and embodying sacred rhythms, which we see in nature. So now, obviously in the ancient times with this festival of Renenutet, in ancient times you would always come with an offering, and a lot of ancient traditions still you would offer. So traditionally what you would offer is lettuce, onions, salted fish, and crops. So Shamo means renewed life. During the Coptic area was known as the spring festival, Sham al-Nesim, and it's smelling the breezes, a modern version of this 4,500-year-old tradition. So Malana, green chickpea shoots, is also seen as this resurgence of life. So traditionally eggs will be colored, which later then were adopted for the celebration of Easter. How that we would paint and color eggs, and that whole symbolism of eggs and fertility around the spring and Easter seasons. So here's about Renenutet, the snake goddess, Termutus. So the Egyptian serpent goddess of nourishment, destiny, and protection. She's the keeper of cycles and unseen force guiding harvest, both literally and spiritually. In alignment with the snake energy and this Chinese zodiac year we are in, so we can embrace this deep wisdom of shedding what no longer serves us, moving with grace through these lives, our lives' ebbs and flows, and stepping into our sovereign power. So now we can break this up in different, these different phases. So reflection on shedding and release, the flood phase, Aket. So just as the Nile's inundation washes away the old and nourishes new growth, so too must we embrace these sacred cycles of release and emergence in our lives. So here's some questions that you can sit on. So I would suggest if you do the replay, like really sit and reflect on these and write down. And even if you have a piece of paper now, you can we can take a moment and you can reflect on this. And even if you want to take a screenshot, that's what I sometimes do when I'm on these Zoom calls, just so that I can go back to this. But again, you're going to have it all in the recording. But what aspects of my life feel like it's overflowing and it's out of my control right now? Like all aspects of life. This could be in your relationships, work, other family dynamics. So just sit and think about that. What old patterns, beliefs, or relationships am I being called to release in this time? And it's not always necessarily the relationship itself, it's more like a pattern that we keep repeating, or just a belief that we're holding within that. How do I typically respond to periods of upheaval? Do I resist? Do I surrender? Or do I find balance? And I'll speak later to how Renenutet relates also to the principle of Mahat. And Mahat is that the goddess and the principle that relates to balance and natural order. So that's, we can weave those themes in as well. If I were to shed an old skin, what would it be? And what truth might be revealed underneath it? So as we release, and I know Marshall and I'm in a container right now of deepening. And, as we release, and I know my other pilgrims too that's come with me before to Egypt, like we release a layer and then something else comes up. And then we're like, oh, okay, now I need to look at this. Now this is surfacing and I have to move through this, and you feel it on all levels. And then how does this concept of Renenutet as a guardian of destiny, because she was known as the guardian of destiny, but how does this guide me in trusting what is meant to fall away? So again, these are questions that you can go deeper with regards to this flood phase. And then we can look at reflection on fertility and renewal. As we released, we can now look at the retreat phase, Peret. So after this period of letting go, which generally, in the winter too, right? We go in the shadow side, we just, hibernating. What new seeds do I feel ready to plant? So this is the springtime, and we're planting these seeds. What inequalities, talents, or desires have been lying dormant within me, waiting for the right time to emerge? And I just want to refer to the picture there on the right. My daughter joined me for the first time in Egypt in September. So she was like feeding all the little cats that's there. But I just thought like it just represents kind of spring, planting seeds, fertility, growth. How do I nurture and protect my creative and spiritual growth? Because this is, and I'm also thinking of Ramadan, right? The holy month. And it's like, where the focus is on spiritual growth, spiritual deepening. And again, even if this is not your faith, I just feel because it's such a large collective, that's why I'm being called to participate this year. It's such a large collective taking part in this, making a whole month holy and focusing on that. And I know in other faiths we have that too, but it just feels like it, this is an opportunity to go deeper with whatever you believe in and want to practice and grow your practice. So just as the ancient Egyptians honored the first crops after the floods. And that's that whole sense of giving thanks and having an offering. Because we always, in all the ancient traditions, they used to do this. And we should keep doing that every time, offering. And that's what I love about Thanksgiving in America, is you giving thanks for what you're harvesting. In what ways can I align more deeply with nature's rhythm, allowing myself time to rest, reflect, and regenerate? What symbols, dreams, and synchronicities might be guiding me towards a new beginning? Okay, so that was now more questions that you can sit, or I don't know if any of you want to take the, oops, just close that up. If you're taking screenshots, but again, you can get the recording afterwards. So reflection on emergence and flow. This is the growth phase. Shem is growth and harvesting. So how can I integrate fluid power, moving gracefully between surrender and decisive action? Where in my life am I being asked to trust the process rather than force control? What wisdom has my personal inundation, challenges, upheavals, or emotional releases revealed to me? How do I cultivate abundance and sovereignty, embracing my personal power without fear? How can I honor Renenutet's lessons by stepping fully into my destined path with confidence and trust? So again, if you wanted to reflect on those questions for a minute, or take a screenshot just so you have this to, or if there's one or two of them that just stands out for you, we can reflect on it more, especially when we do the little, just take this. Okay, so now exploring the restrictive skin of self perception. So this is our most restrictive skin, is the one we live in and how we perceive ourselves. Identify the old skin, questioning self-perception. So what labels or roles have I attached to myself that feels limiting? And this could be cultural conditionings, family conditionings, like, you know, I'm not creative, you know, I'm not an artist, I must always be strong. You know, it's amazing. I always thought of myself not as a musician, and then I became a sound dealer. And I paint too. I love painting the Neraru. And, you know, I don't see myself as an artist. So we always attach these labels. But the thing is, if we just come from a place of where expression is just flowing, like none of these perceptions can exist. Are these identities truly mine, or were they inherited, like I said before, from cultural conditionings and past experiences? You know, something that somebody told you while you were in school growing up and it just stuck with you. And how do I speak with myself internally? If my inner voice were a person, how would they treat me? So I have friends that would like go on, you know, they would like, and I mean, and I do the same, and then they would say the same to me, but, you know, where we get down on ourselves and we criticize ourselves, then I would usually stop them, and then I'm like, stop talking so bad about my friend. Please stop talking so bad about my friend, you know, just to get them out of that, because we're so hard on ourselves. We're so negative towards ourselves. And that what we say to ourselves become true, you know. The word is like spells. It's, you know, the whole world came into existence from the word. What emotions arise when I think about letting go of this old self-perception? Because also the other thing is, this becomes our identity, and we kind of like become comfortable within that, even though we don't like it or it might be limiting. But it's hard to expand from that. So, you know, and even thinking about that can evoke some anxieties, because whenever we're being pushed to that, you know, edge to grow, it becomes uncomfortable. And we, you know, the whole aim is, I must say, certainly where I am in my journey, is I've become very comfortable in being uncomfortable. That's my new motto. So, and then recognize the masks, the persona versus the true self. So in what ways do I present myself differently in different situations? Where in my life, and was that an adaptation tool, you know, for us to just to adapt to a certain triggering or a certain way of being? Where in my life do I feel like I'm performing instead of being authentic? If I had no fear of judgment, how would I express myself differently? What does the serpent flow teach me about power, renewal, and surrendering to transformation? See it? So I'm just going to keep that there for a second, so you can just see if there was anything there that just kind of like stood out to you? You feel you want to deepen more with or explore more? So now exploring the restrictive skin of self-perception. So acknowledge the shadows, confronting the unseen self. So what parts of myself do I suppress, ignore, or hide from others? How have the past wounds or failures shaped my self-perception in ways that no longer serves me? What qualities in others do I envy or dislike? Could these reflect unintegrated parts of myself? So rewriting this narrative and shifting perspective. If I could rewrite my self story from a place of empowerment, what would change? What evidence do I have that contradicts my limiting beliefs? How would my future self 5 years from now describe the person I am becoming? So there's some self-perception, exploring this restrictive skin, confronting the unseen self. So then embodying the new skin, this is now the integration and action phase. So what small daily actions can I take to embodying a truer, freer version of myself? How can I physically, emotionally, and spiritually ritualize the shedding of my old skin, like through movement, water ceremonies, symbolic offerings? And also, how can I surround myself with people that already holds this energy? And so who reflects that in my life? And what fears arise as I step more into my authentic version of myself, and how can I embrace them rather than resist them? And then aligning with this flow, learning from the serpent and the Nile. How can I allow my personal transformation to unfold organically rather than forcing change? And in what ways can I trust the wisdom of life cycles, knowing that shedding is necessary for growth? So, and it's a gradual process. We have to be patient. And it's, you know, if we just look at snakes that sheds their skin, it's necessary for growth. It's even painful and dangerous. And they start feeling uncomfortable in their own skin. And they're literally outgrowing its outside. And they start to scratch, they rub, they change color in order to remove this restrictive layer. So now the activation and moving and stirring. So as spring returns, we are activated by Sekhem and the return of Ra. So Ra is sun god. Sun also represents just that masculine energy, the yang energy. So we use the snake energy for healing as per the caduceus, you know, the caduceus, which is the medical symbol with the snakes going up. And the awakening of the kundalini, our life force energy, naturally revived after winter. A felt sense as you journey through the temples on the Serpent Flow pilgrimage. So, you know, Deborah and Sonia can attest, like when we walk through these temples, you know, we've had some kundalini activations, some heavy kundalini activations that we just like on this high, and people are like, what are you guys doing? It's just, you can't deny it. It's just the energy is so present there. And we're ready for it. So this is now also just going deeper with Renenutet, the lady of justification in the underworld. So as per the ancient funerary text, the Litany of Re. So this was the Litany of Re was a sacred invocation, a hymn of transformation guiding the souls through the solar rebirth cycle. It honored Re's ability to shapeshift. So if you're familiar with shamanic terms, shape-shifting is a tool, way of medicine, if you like, that, and Re had this ability, just like Isis too, to shapeshift, but through 75 different forms. A divine reflection of the serpent's power, the ability to shed, evolve, and transcend. You know, often with this work, we talk about the path of Mahat. So that's the path of truth and justice and balance. And we can also approach that through Renenutet, the serpent goddess of nourishment and fate, is to embody the same shape-shifting sovereignty to balance and order, and recognize that power is not something that's given or taken, but something that must be claimed through cycles of release, integration, and rebirth. So this is why it's so important for us to do that expansion and contraction phases through this, how we're evolving, you know, and otherwise we're not growing. And that can be very uncomfortable. I know through shamanic work, we call it the shamanic death as well. You know, there's like you literally physically experience, almost experiencing a death in order for a rebirth to happen. The snake goddess is depicted here with the feather of Mahat. So that's that feather on the cobra's head there. And that's truth and justice. In the funerary text, she would appear in a form of a mummy with the head of a cobra. Liberation in owning your own power. So we become free and liberated when we own our own power, because we often give our power away. And I keep returning to asking myself, in this situation, how am I giving my power away? Because it's nobody's really we give it away. Okay, so now revered, so this again more on Renenutet, revered name Ren, to bring up nature, Rent, fortune and riches. She would name all children. She is the mother of Nefri. So Renenutet, the serpent goddess of nourishment, faith, and the Osirian cycle. Renenutet is more than a guardian of faith. She is the personification of sustenance itself, often depicted as a goddess of corn. So corn in a lot of the ancient traditions and the Mayan traditions was seen as life and sustenance. I actually called my daughter Zia, which is the Latin name for Zia maize, which is corn silk, for this reason. It means life-giving. And the harvest and the abundance of the land. Her essence is deeply woven in the Osirian mysteries, the death-rebirth cycle of the grain, and the sacred alchemy of transformation and renewal. In her role as a life-giver, Renenutet represents the hidden forces within all things that ensures continuity, fertility, and survival. Like Osiris, who dies and is reborn. You know, Isis helped to get him, give him that rebirth through the grain that is cut and sown. She embodies the mysteries of life that perpetuates itself through surrender, dissolution, and emergence. She is also the wife to Geb, where Geb is known as the earth god. And so not like Mother Gaia. In ancient Egypt, the earth is referred to as a male and as the earth god, Geb. So I love in Egypt how it's always the opposite sexes. It's very like the sky goddess is goddess Nut, and you know, where we talk about father sky in other traditions. So other traditions proclaim that she was married to Sobak or Shai, the god of destiny and fortune. So that's the crocodile god. Komombo is his temple. So now offering afterlife protection. So this is what she did for the pharaohs. She was the lady of the robes, guardian of the pharaoh's clothing, fiercely powerful to frighten enemies. Renenutet's role as the guardian of roles reveals a deeper truth, that we wear energetically our boundaries, our presence, our truth. So this you would notice also with people you know, you just notice some people walk into a room and there's just presence. And we can build that. We can build that energetically by how we own our presence, our energetic body, and also the energetic boundaries that we put around us. And how that, and we need that because, you know, I know some of you that maybe work with energy, you hear of energy vampires, you know, vampires. You know, if you put out a lot of energy, you know, people can attach to that. So we want to practice energetic hygiene, and that's where the boundaries, energetic boundaries, come in as well. And it's as powerful as any armor. She teaches us that stepping into our power requires conscious embodiment, ensuring that our energetic clothing reflects our sovereignty, protection, and our truth. So being in our truth. Just as the serpent coils in both defense and wisdom, our energetic garments must protect without constriction, allow fluid movement, and imbued with essence. And she's also known as the goddess of plentiful. So that is that fertility and abundance. Snakes were abundant by crops to protect and ward off threatening rodents. Allow this lady of granaries to bestow good fortune for your harvesting season. So their harvesting season happened earlier in the year, just so that, you know, you're not thrown off by this being in there. So bless yourself by blessing others and their crops too. A manifesting mindset and the magician archetype. And, you know, as we are moving from 3D to 5D, quantum mechanics, quantum physics, this is so much more accessible to us, you know, manifesting. You know, you could think of something and it happens. Like, I don't know if you guys have been experiencing that, but I'm actually daily asking and seeing daily how this is unfolding, which is just, it's so powerful. But we can also manifest negative things. I'm good at doing that too. Meaning, like for myself, you know, because we think we're so powerful in what we create, and you think of these things and then, so we have to be careful. So she's also the goddess and nurturance of motherhood. So nurturing the Egyptian people and the pharaoh, merged with Isis and Ceremitis and Thermonthis, linked with Meskenet, goddess of labor. And, you know, so Dendara is Hathor's temple, and there's a Mamisi. So most of the temples have Mamisis, which is a birthing, you know, birthing temple, birthing chapel. She provides your secret name, protects babies from curses, and gives the power to control their faith. Learn how to activate this power on my next pilgrimage. Okay, Renenutet is in all things. So we have this theme in Africa, I'm South African, called Ubuntu. I am because we are. So this ascribes from the Femin Stalin at the Selhel Island in Aswan. So we have a Nubian present here too, Patrice. And so, you know, this is in her country. Linked with the gods of the Nile and inundations, so that the drought may never come again, as it did for 7 terrible years during the 3rd dynasty of King Jossa. Okay, well, that was a lot of material. So before I play you a video of the Nile, we're just going to actually take these pieces and just sink in with it a little bit deeper. And just, yeah, I would just love for you to close your eyes and sit back so we can open ourselves to this metamorphosis. And it's becoming comfortable with the uncomfortable, surrendering to the mysteries of the unknown, the rites of passage, sharing your skin and wearing its colors with honor. So receiving the blessings of change. So we're just going to start and breathe and Imagine yourself on the Nile. Person coming in, just see. Those robes you're wearing, the armor you're wearing, the boundaries that you're projecting. Do you have an inviting energy when you walk into a room, approaching friendly energy? Do you have a restrictive energy? Are you shining fully in your light, your authenticity, your truth? Are you in balance? Is it coming from a place of being full or needing validation? Coming from a place of lack? And also seeing and how Renenutet is a nurturing goddess. How are you nurturing yourself? What seeds have you been planting for this spring season? What limiting beliefs are you willing to let go of, shed this Pisces new moon? What aspects in your life is overflowing, out of control? just going to use my snake system. This is also good in clearing the energetic body. A rattle or sistrum, just to shake up that energy that clings to our energetic field. And the sistrum is a very sacred ancient tool. Activates our second life force energy. So I'm just going to let you breathe into that, and then I'm going to show you a video of the Nile as well. So you can open your eyes and Okay, so that's just a testimonial from the previous pilgrim, and then I'm just going to talk about my next tour. That is middle of April. Middle of May, May 19th to 31st. So, this is just where we arrive in Cairo first, and then we're going to be private visit, Pause of the Sphinx, and go for camel ride. And then we're going to go on a Dabahea, which is like similar to the ancient boats, that it doesn't have a motor, it's pushed by a tugboat. And private visit to Philae Temple, Isis' temple. And then we're going to explore Komombo. And then we're just going to relax on the Nile, on the Dabahea, and connect with villages nearby. Day 6 is Edford Temple, explore the Temple of Horus, that's Christ consciousness. Day 7, sail to Esna, Temple of Esna. And then we're also going to go to Dendara and Abydos, and Hatshepsut's temple, the Valley of the Kings, Luxor temple at night, and Karnak temple, the power of Sekhmet, which is the lion goddess. And then we're going to explore some shopping in Luxor and Cairo, the Grand Museum. It's only fully going to open in July, but there's already partially open. I've been there with more sections being opened each time, so that it's very impressive, it's phenomenal. And then day 13 we have the private visit to the Great Pyramids and closing circle. Okay, so I just want to say about the pricing. I have a 20% discount, 2 weeks all inclusive for 8748, and if you sign, I'm offering just for this class until Sunday an extra 1,000 off that, so it will be 7,748. That's for sharing, double occupancy, and it's 1,000 more for the 2 weeks if you want single occupancy, then you have your own room. And you can schedule a call with me and explore more what I do. So I just wanted to let you know that. And then your takeaways is, it's like you'll learn more about the Egyptian mysteries. And we have an Egyptologist with us, so you'll learn a lot about Egyptology and, the historical aspects of it too. And just, how you can soar on different aspects of your life, walk the path of Mahat, balance and truth and harmony and abundance. And these powerful healing sites, activations, initiations, downloads, just having that where you come back and you have a whole new awakening and transformation. And, and I support you to move through this energetically, because as you move through it energetically, it does affect you. So how to do it in a way that's grounded. And then we can do exactly what we said here, release those old patterns. And it's just an unforgettable experience. You can ask the other two that's been there before. And we make connections for life. Okay, this was just a comparison of experience from different places and what it costs, just so you have an idea. And yeah, I'm just gonna ask if you have any questions. Oh, and I have a mystery school too, so these teachings I have online. And thank you.